Next, it is my honor and privilege to introduce to you distinguished Washington State veteran Skip Drepps, who is also a member of the Veterans Administration Institutional Review Board. Skip Drepps.
President Fox, Dr. Osborne Jamin, and my distinguished colleagues, thank you for the honor and privilege of being here today to talk to you. I recently asked Congressman Adam Smith to co-sponsor H.R. 1523, the Respect State Marijuana Laws Act of 2013, which would protect individuals who possess marijuana legally under Washington state law from federal prosecution. It would also provide businesses legally licensed to grow, process, and sell marijuana under state law with protections against prosecution under federal law. I presented him my case, and the former King County prosecutor agreed. Congressman Adam Smith is now Washington State's first co-sponsor. He stood up for the people he represents, and he is anxious as I am to help wounded warriors any way we can. And medical research and access to safe cannabis are two benefits of our state's plan to legalize cannabis for adult use that directly can help our disabled veterans in Washington state. We both believe if cannabis is safe and effective and can be controlled and regulated, it is our duty to leave no stone unturned to help them and anyone else who could benefit from this alternative medical treatment. Americans leave no one behind. And let me just pause right here in my official remarks and tell you a little bit about this bill, why it's so special. Last year, out of the bills that were presented to Congress, only 3% passed. The prognosis up until this morning was that this bill had maybe an 8% chance of passing. Today, the prognosis is over 70% of this bill passing. Let me tell you why. Let me tell you why I'm so excited about this bill. Because it affords this state the opportunity to experiment for the rest of the nation on doing it right the first time before the other states get a chance to mess it up. But quite frankly, this bill, if you look at it, and let me repeat to you again one more time, H.R. 1523, it's just dropped last month by a Republican from California, Dana Rohrabacher. And there are 12 congressional members from 16 states that are already signing on or are signing on as I speak right now. And I'm sure the other 9 members of our congressional delegation in the House of Representatives are anxiously grabbing their pen and seeing right now how they can sign on too. They should. Now I'll go back to my prepared remarks. The current approach to federal medical marijuana or marijuana law enforcement creates a nation of uncertainty, producing confusion and widely divergent responses in states which has passed marijuana laws. This is unfair to the citizens of those states and frustrates the will of a growing majority of Americans as expressed through the state ballot initiatives and legislative measures, especially veterans. For a generation, veterans who have known cannabis is effective in reducing symptomatology of PTSD, and they used it illegally and unsafely, and until 2010, just 3 years ago, were afraid to tell their VA healthcare provider if they self-medicated with cannabis for fear of prosecution. Today, they are persecuted. Now a new generation who has a greater burden of 2 wars and many more deployments, more than mine, face a new signature wound of war, traumatic brain injury, and cannabis may hold the key for an effective alternative medical treatment for mild to moderate symptoms. And let me just stop there because I have a distinguished member from Harvard who knows economy, and Linda Blimes from Harvard 3 years ago wrote that the cost of this war was $5 trillion. $5 trillion to take care of the injured from this war. And I asked her just last week when I was in Washington, D.C., is that still true, Linda? Is it still that much? And she said, no, Skip, it's 7. Do I hear 9? 9? Do I hear 10? And if we don't do something, this tsunami is going to wash all over our country. The legalization of thank you. The legalization of cannabis in Washington State will allow medical research, that's where my skin's in this game, to continue on possible medical uses of cannabis. If we could find a tool to help our wounded warriors, and it could be within our reach, would we be less of a grateful nation if we turned our back and refused to care for those who bore the burden of battle? We're Americans. Washington voters agreed that it was time for a new approach to marijuana by a big margin, 56 to 44%. The veterans and the active military swung that vote. We need all of our congressional representatives to hear our voices and hold them accountable to the will of the majority of Washington citizens if they remain either deaf or dumb. We Washingtonians are proud Americans, and we are free from fear. Moreover, we are grateful for the support of our Mexican neighbors in this journey together to help find peace and healing in both parts of one world as one people. Thank you.
Thank you, distinguished veteran Skip Drepps.